Um, nah, seriously though, what is good? Um, I've wanted to do this for a long ass time, and I just never had the courage. Always cared what people would think, what they might say, how I might look. But honestly, none of that matters. Just matters what I want to do. And I'm trying to talk to you about whatever comes to my mind. Um, no time limit. Gonna record myself using a old tripod. This mic I found in my crib, the nicest, nice mic. Um, and yeah, I'm just gonna talk off the dome, some topics I want to talk about, just anything that comes into my mind, and I'm just gonna post them. And who knows, maybe I could get a couple people other than my friends and family to tune in and listen to what I got to say, because I do think I have some good things that I've learned throughout my life from mistakes I've made, and lessons I've extracted out of those mistakes. So yeah, we here, episode one, in the backyard, nice scenery. Um, but I guess to start off, I just want to talk about how random life is. So I was born in 2003, born in the United States. And even that in itself is completely random. Like I had no decision on when I was going to be born, where I was going to be born, the family I was going to be born to. Um, like you have a 17.5% chance to be born in India, um, which I just find that statistic to be a little crazy. And I do take my life for granted a lot of the time, but I think it's important to understand that I guess we are here for a reason. Um, and I am trying to do some real shit, some some cool things for myself, for my family. Um, I guess for the people around me. So if I don't try to do those things, I feel like I'm selling myself short, and this is one of those things. So yeah, we're about to be pumping out videos whenever I want. This is cool. You could just talk to a camera and post it, and who knows what would happen. We do know what would happen if you don't post it, because nothing would happen, right? You don't make the video, you don't post it online, you don't do anything. So I like the randomness in life, and as well as this. In I do not know what's gonna happen. Don't have any idea what's coming from this, other than I'll be able to look back on this and reflect on my ideas, how I spoke, just myself. This will be a cool passion project. Um, so that leads me probably to the main part of this video, or what I really want to talk about is the journey. Um, and it's not about the destination, as in the goals and the things you want to accomplish, because when you accomplish those things, you're inherently going to want to do other things. So I personally think from my experiences over the past 21 years, specifically the last probably 10, 8, that you need to embrace the journey, meaning the days you wake up and you don't want to go to the gym, or you don't want to eat healthy, or you want to say place a sports bet, but you want to save your money and invest it. Um, who's calling me? See you, bro. No one's calling me. Put this shit back up. Um, yeah, I guess the failures, the ups, the downs, the getting to the goal, the steps it takes to achieve something, that's where I find um the most happiness and the most fulfillment in working one day at a time and seeing my progress compound on itself. Building a snowball, like a snowball running down a mountain, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what happens in both a positive way or a negative way. Um, you stack wins just as easily as you stack losses. But along the journey, I definitely think it's important to look at your failures and the parts of the journey that you endured, where you endured pain, and to reflect on those lessons because, well, for me, I know when I was studying for the ACT, um, just a standardized test that colleges look at, which I say what you want about it. It is what it is. Um, I was studying, I remember I was taking practice exams in my basement, and I wouldn't know one of the answers or to the question, or I maybe even not know what the question was asking me. And I would look in the back of the book for the answer and then circle that answer. And lo and behold, I did not get the score I was anticipating or wanted. And looking back on that, it's because I was cheating myself. Um, I was thinking in the moment if I had some help or got a better score on the practice exam, that would equate to me getting the same score on the real exam. But on the real exam, I wasn't able to cheat. I was cheating myself in my practice, which then led me to not succeed how I wanted to. So when I was taking the SIE exam, which is Securities Industries Essentials exam, like a prerequisite for the licenses you take when you want to become financial advisor or in that area, I was thinking back on the time I studied for the ACT, and I did not want the same thing to happen. Um, the SIU's pass or fail, you need, I don't remember what you needed, um, but I just remembered the feeling of not achieving what I wanted and how poorly I felt and how upset I was. And it is all in my hands. So I decided to focus and study and put in the effort. Um, and it was hard because I would wake up one day and be very motivated to go study, but then the next day I would wake up and want to play Fortnite with my friends or just hang out in someone's room and just shoot the shit. And yeah, you could have the balance, but I know for me, I needed to get this done, and then I could enjoy those other aspects of my life at the time. So, a big lesson I've learned is pain or failure, or the pain you feel from failing, plus reflection equals progress. And that's something I took from a book from Ray Dalio. He created Bridgewater, a very successful hedge fund. He wrote a book called Principles. It's about life and work principles. Um, and I took that from the book directly. Pain plus reflection equals progress, which is a principle I carry in my life now. And I'm very grateful for this book. It also says, don't let fears of what others think of you stand in your way. Um, and I recently read this again, and I instantly thought, YouTube, why am I not posting videos? And it was because I was afraid of what people would think. And what if people love it? What if they love me? Like, I'm just kidding. Not really, but in the aspect of not giving a fuck and caring what you really want. And if I really want to do this, I'm gonna do it. So we're doing it. Um, I also recently I've been seeing I don't really pay attention or watch the news at all. Occasionally I'll tune into CNBC and the markets channel and just listen to that, but I really don't like it. I think the media, well, I know the media gets paid for creating headlines and creating narratives, and they're the best at it. But I would just encourage you to go on the Wall Street Journal, even if you don't pay for it, and look at the headlines of each article and just how it sounds. It's pretty crazy. I'll go read one. UK tries to mend fences in Europe to defend against threats. And I don't really know where I was getting by doing that, but I just wanted to show how the headlines are written in a specific way where it entices you to click on it, where it it ignites an emotion that you feel when you read something like a threat, or they're written a certain way and they make money every time we click on it or watch something or tune into something. Um, and that is something that I've thought myself, but also learned from one of my classes at school. I had a professor, Charles Buchanan, the GOAT, um, served in the military, um, was a ranger. I hopefully I'm not doing this a disjustice by saying something wrong, but he taught leadership and character, where it's about characteristics of elite leaders, um, and just how they carry themselves, how they lead, how they think, just the elite character traits that make those leaders who are elite elite. And I was looking back in my notebook and I saw something I wrote from school where it says, "How will you be an elite leader of character?" So I wrote, "To consistently learn about myself through analyzing my thoughts, actions, wins, and shortcomings." Similarly to what I spoke about on pain plus pain plus reflection equals progress. In order to learn, you need to change. Well, in order to make a change in your life, you need to learn about ways that you have been doing things wrong or right and continue doing them. But I think the biggest life lessons come out of your biggest failures or so thought failures. Um, I wrote, "To be open-minded and always emulate my younger self, the willingness to try, learn, fail, and repeat." I guess I could stop there because I might get carried away with this, but I really fell in love with the markets during COVID. Uh, it was the summer of 2019. Was that even COVID? I don't even know. But I think the summer of 2019, I bought my first stock, which was Square at the time. Those the little payment processors that local businesses or vendors they have, and you just tap your phone to it. That was the first company I bought as a stock. Um, and funny enough, I've found a new passion, which is Bitcoin and learning about Bitcoin, studying Bitcoin, researching everything. I'm just the philosophy, the technology, the ways or the things I've learned from studying Bitcoin has trickled out into the way I live my life, the food I eat, um, how I approach fitness and wellness, um, how I look at the news, the media, Instagram, which don't get me wrong, I'll scroll on Reels and I'm a victim to wasting time and doom scrolling, but I'm getting better and better. I guess my biggest thing about Bitcoin is it's a form of money. It's a set of rules. Um, it is a it is a protocol for moving money on the internet. So I can send money to my friend Doodle, who can send money to our friend Sickle, who could then send money back to me. And we don't need a bank. We don't need to ask anyone to allow us to send this money. As you do when you send money on Zelle, you're asking Chase to send your money to someone else. And my biggest thing with Bitcoin is there's only 21 million units or units. So there's a max supply of how much money there is within this system of movement on the internet. Compared to the dollar, which I've used my whole life, and I'm blessed to be able to have the dollar, because I could live in places and countries where I'm concerned if my currency is going to hyperinflate 50% over the next day. I don't really have to worry about my dollar losing its value overnight, or so I thought. Um, so from learning about Bitcoin, and there's only 21 million units, and I control my money, and it's my money. I then looked at how the dollars were created, and a group of individuals decides if we should print more money or if we should keep the supply close to what it is or not make more money. And now we don't even print the dollars. It is it is just a person typing on a computer, which I find to be a little funny. And then when you think about it, every time we make more money and the supply of the dollars gets larger, the dollars that are already circulating or held in my bank account, in your bank account, they lose value. Meaning $1 in, I'm going to say 1950, is able to buy 7 cents of goods today. Another way to put it, when we make more money, when we print more dollars, when there's more dollars competing for the same iPhone, the same Zyn container, the same book, the same apple that you eat, the fruit, those those individual items get more expensive. The price goes up. But I personally don't think that those items are getting more valuable. I see it as our dollar is getting weaker and weaker. Um, you need more dollars to buy the same amount of goods that you did a few years ago, which doesn't make sense. I personally believe and know this to be true with Bitcoin is over time your your life gets cheaper. For example, in 2016, the average home price in America was $288,000, and that was 664 Bitcoin. In 2020, your your home went up in dollar value and it's $328,000, but it went down in the amount of Bitcoin. So in 2016 it was 660 Bitcoin, in 2020 45 Bitcoin, and then in 2024 it was 6.6 Bitcoin. So since Bitcoin only has so many, there's a max supply and the supply of dollars is infinite, the price in dollars is going up forever. But the price of a home, if you're using Bitcoin to value it, is going down forever. And this wasn't something that I just stumbled across overnight. Somebody in my high school senior year told me about Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I didn't give it any thought. Really didn't have any money. Um, and I thought it was stupid, to be honest. I was like, "You sound dumb." Um, wish I did give it some thought, but I didn't. And then I lost a few $1,000s on NFTs. and Ethereum. And I really didn't know anything about Bitcoin, and I thought Bitcoin and Ethereum were competing. And after I lost this money, my sophomore year, I started giving Bitcoin more thought and researching it and trying to understand the technology, and not Bitcoin as an investment, but Bitcoin as a technology. And this technology is as important and revolutionary as the wheel, as the printing press, as the telephone. This allows anybody in the world to use a system that allows them to move money online. They no longer need a Chase bank account. They no longer need access to the United States stock market. Um, they have a way to, one, protect their money in something that can't just be easily inflated. They have a way to move money on the internet without the need of a bank account, and they have a piece of technology that they can use to buy real goods or value things compared to Bitcoin. Fun fact, it takes around 36 ounces of gold to buy one Bitcoin. And although we're at all-time highs in dollars, we aren't at all-time highs in gold or in Mag 7 stock. Um, so it really just, you could look at Bitcoin priced in a lot of different ways. My biggest thing that I need to get back doing is just buying and holding forever. Um, until say 15, 20 years and I want to sell some and buy my dream house or be able to sail on a yacht in the Mediterranean with a bunch of my buddies and buy a lake house for my parents. Just do some cool shit. That's what Bitcoin allows you to do. It allows you to do some cool shit. I think that was a little bit too much of a rant. So hopefully you're still here. You didn't lose some interest, and if you did, who knows? You just tune back into the to right now. And we're gonna talk about some other shit. I also really got interested in golf. Um, I think my freshman year of college, but more specifically this past year, I love golf. It's so hard, and I'm not the best. I think my handicap's a 20.8, which I'm proud of because it is trending lower. Um, but the the mental aspects of golf in each shot is a brand new shot. It's a brand new attempt to do well or to learn. Um, if I was playing a round of golf and I had a horrible front nine, the first 9 holes, I played pretty poorly. You can play extremely well the next hole. It's your round isn't over. And I need to get back into the mindset of being in being present in my environment. Sometimes I'll look at my phone and text my friends and do some things, but if I'm really focused on the shot that I'm about to take, I think I could be a great golfer. So, also being outside and just not focusing on anything else other than golf is super cool. I'm not worried about what I'm going to eat for dinner. I'm not worried about if my friends are texting me. I'm not worried about the price of Bitcoin. I'm not worried about anything other than, will my next shot be on the green or on the fairway? Or I try not to think if I'm going to be in the sands, because if I think it probably will happen. Which leads me into my next thing, that you can do whatever you want. If you have a desire, if you have a burning passion to do something, nobody can stop you. The only way you won't achieve those things is if you quit. Which To be transparent, I am starting a job at the firm company where I had an internship last summer at a different group, a private wealth management group. And the camaraderie, the culture, the the want to be great aspect of this company, I I really found it to be inspiring and comforting in the sense of wanting to pursue a career there and grow there and learn from the best there. So during my school year, I got a job at a computing firm um, a couple months before I graduated. And I was left with a choice. Do I stop trying to get a job where I really want to work and take this other opportunity, which could be great? Or do I work hard, continue networking, trying to build relationships that might be able to allow me to get my foot in the door? And I ultimately chose the latter. It took me a couple months. I cold emailed groups all across the country. I sent countless LinkedIn connections and just messages and tried a lot of different, I guess, vectors to getting what I wanted, which was ultimately a job at this company. And I got denied a lot. I think 80% of the attempts I made to get on a call with a group or do this and that did not work. What's up? For what? Well, I'm making this video, so ultimately I did not get discouraged though. Um, I kept trying, kept at it. And funny enough, I think the people you know and are able to form relationships and connections with goes way more than your skills and how qualified you are for a job. Because for my internship last summer, those same people sent my resume to another group at this company, got on a call with them. They ended up hiring someone else, but I made an impression enough to have her send my resume to another group who I was then speaking to for a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe a little longer than a month. And I ultimately got a job with that group. It wasn't one that I reached out to initially. It wasn't one that I found on LinkedIn or ever thought I would be able to work for, but it was the people I met along the way who helped me out and remembered, oh, that J kid, yeah, I think he would be a good fit with this group. So again, that goes to show that the journey is more important than the final destination. As I put in the work at my internship last summer, I put in the work to try to get a job. I put in the work to study. I I put in the work every day. I try to do the things I want to do. And by doing that and having this overarching goal, you're climbing the ladder. And I think climbing the ladder is the journey, and that's the pinnacle of life, which is do the things that bring you the most happiness and the most joy and do them forever. That's Bitcoin, that's working out, that's hanging out with my friends, that's reading, that's learning, that's family time. Just the things you want to do, and you got to find those things. And I still need to find those things. And I think golf is one of those that's building its way up there, along with music. I really love music. I think music is so important in the aspect of motivation, in the moment motivation. And I know that's external and not internal, but music also brings you back to a random time period. I remember Certified Lover Boy. champagne poetry. I'm in my dorm room with my freshman year roommate, and we're just vibing. Mac Miller, A Tribe Called Quest. That was last summer. Really got involved with A Tribe Called Quest last summer. Music just has a funny way of being able to bring back time periods. I bet if you listen to a song from a few years ago, you would be able to remember that time period of what you were going on or what was going on in your life at that time, which I think is super cool. I'll never forget some memories that I've made, which also came from listening to music. Um, I would say Drake and Mac Miller are my top two artists. Drake has always been my favorite. It's like Drake and LeBron, the two goats, forever. Iceman, OVO King, but life is crazy. Life is random, but if life was predictable and not random, what's the point? Say tomorrow I go into the city and I go to Pub Key, New York, a bar where a lot of Bitcoiners go, and I meet Anthony Pompliano, who runs the Pomp Show, or I meet Jack Mallers, or Michael Saylor's just in there getting a beer. You never know what could happen. And another reason why you should just try everything and make mistakes. And I definitely need to make more mistakes. Going back to the pain plus reflection equals progress. The only way to feel that pain is by making mistakes. And then the only way to grow is by learning from those mistakes. It's like a feedback loop. You just go up and up and up. You try, you fail, you learn, you grow. And the minute you stop trying and failing and learning, that's the minute you stop growing. So I'm going to make it a goal and a pledge to myself to never stop trying, to never stop learning, and to never stop making mistakes. Um, I don't know. I'm getting pretty sweaty right now. My mom was right. She thought I was sweating. Um, I would just ask you to like and subscribe, comment if you enjoyed it, if you found anything to be relatable. Yeah, I probably am gonna come back on here whenever I feel like it, spew a little bit, rant a little bit, listen to music, vibe out. I'm definitely gonna have a friend on here, shoot the shit. Um, I don't know, but just try to be present, which it's the only thing we got is right now. Deuces.